The first jobs report under the Biden administration was released Friday morning, showing a gain of nearly 50,000 jobs and the unemployment rate falling to 6.3%. Here to discuss is Chris Markowski, the host of Watchdog on Wall Street. Chris, thanks so much for joining me again. It's great to see you.
No problem. Thanks, Samantha, for having me.
Of course. Now, let's just dive right in as usual. What do you make of these numbers? Can you break it down for us?
Well, we've been doing this for the past few months, and 3, 4 months ago, we discussed that we were hitting a wall, and we've hit that wall. You even take a look at some of the prior months; they've been, in essence, they've been redone to the downsides. We're not getting better. We're basically, for all intents and purposes, staying the same. What can you expect? I mean, we've got major aspects of the economy that are still not open. In New York City, I guess the restaurants are going to be open at 25% starting on Valentine's Day. But again, most restaurants are not going to open at 25%. They can't afford to do that. So when you have such a large swath of the economy that's just been shut down, where do you go from here? I mean, what other jobs are we going to create? Going to start paying people to watch Netflix? At some point in time, the country has to open up.
Something that I thought was interesting just in terms of opening up was this Congressional Budget Office report from earlier this week that said the economy will most likely recover by the end of this year. But in terms of getting people to that same employment number that we saw pre-pandemic, it could take as long as, 2024. With that in mind, what is to be done for these people that need employment, especially during a pandemic? How can we speed that up essentially?
I've been a big proponent of pushing entrepreneurship and getting more money in the hands of entrepreneurs to go out there and start businesses and live their dreams. The real job engine for the country, it's not big businesses. They hire, they fire, it's a wash. The majority of job growth we see in this country are from businesses, companies that are 5 years old and younger. And that's what we need to do. We've seen all of the small stores, whatnot, that have been shut down. They need to reopen. Obviously, the stimulus package gets through via reconciliation, and there's a large swath of money that's going to be going to extended unemployment. And I appreciate that. I don't have any problem with that at all. I'm all for safety nets when people are in trouble. And in this case, they're in trouble, no fault of their own. The government's shutting things down. But you bring up some interesting points. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I mean, you go to certain parts of the country that are big with conventions and in around, like for Orlando and whatever it may be, these areas there, are they going to come back? Will they ever come back? It's almost as if many big businesses and companies are now, it's like that old Life cereal commercial from the 1970s. You might not be familiar, but I remember, it's the old Mikey, who's going to try it? Who's going to go out there and hold the first convention and all of these things to bring these businesses back? Everybody's kind of, they're like pack rats businesses. They're waiting to see what everybody else is going to do.
Well, you brought up small businesses, and something that I read recently was that small businesses make up 99% of all businesses in the United States, which is just so crazy to think about, especially when so many have been shut down, most likely permanently because of these lockdowns that we've seen because of the coronavirus. And something you also brought up was this relief package. Now, the Senate passed a resolution early Friday morning, making it more likely that this COVID relief bill or this package will be passed, $1.9 trillion. You mentioned that it will have the extended unemployment as well as potentially having those $1,400 checks. Can you talk a little bit about that? And, do you think this is needed in order to sort of jumpstart the economy?
I'm not a fan of the checks at all. I think it's just a waste of money, quite frankly. People that are out of work need the help. I get all that. I understand that. But I'm also a big believer that welfare becomes a drug. And Uncle Sam's one of the biggest drug dealers going. You do not want people addicted to this constant check all of the time. And you saw the visceral reaction by people in Georgia that were upset that they weren't getting $2,000. They're only going to get $1,400. And it scares me. I'm being honest. It frightens me when I see that 66% of the country, 2/3 of the country, are all for sending out checks and this stimulus package. At some point in time, you've got to understand someone has to pay for it. I got 3 kids. This is going on their bill, and it's going to go on my grandkids' bill. It's going to get paid for at some point in time. It's just who matters going to pay it.
Yes, well, it will certainly be interesting now, that the Democrats can basically pass this bill without needing any support from the Republicans. It looks more likely that it'll actually get passed. But if it does get passed, which seems likely, I'd love to have you back on. And of course, next month, I'll have you back on talking about the February jobs report. Chris, as always, it's great to have you on. I so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Appreciate it.